So jumping straight into the start of the 12-hour race, I had a glitch in quali, so ended up qualifying in P25. Bit of another glitch at the start, and we don't quite start in P25. I think maybe we start like P16, P18, as you can see. But let's go straight into it. As you can see, dry tyres, wet conditions, so a bit sketchy. Most of the field was either on wets or go on to wets in the next few laps, but we stay on dry for the next 70 minutes. So this stint is a bit mad. Let's watch. So just trying to make up positions as much as we can without making any mistakes. If we
car on the right, clear on the right, car on the right.
You see here going around the outside of the Assetto, if we can. The Honda rejoined in front of us, so we kind of get boxed in here, back out. 12-hour race, so we're not in too much rush to make up positions. I know we have good pace. We were doing 218s in practice with this setup, race fuel load, and these temps, but in obviously dry. The entire lineup of drivers we had were all doing 218s, so our pace was good, although I think something happened with the engine because it ended up going white after the first couple of stints, and our pace was very slow compared to practice, so I think it was to do with the engine problems we had. But see there, Assetto getting through. You'd lose a lot of positions over the next couple of laps, especially as the track starts to get wet.
Do we put an end of this lap?
On wet tyres. But
or do we
as I
stay
said, we stay on dry tyres for the first 70 minutes. This is purely strategy. So I don't defend too much to these guys who are on wet tyres because they just have so much more grip.
I'll stay out for another lap or two and see if it updates. Some other guys are on wets though. Honestly feels very slidey and a bit horrible. Feels like I'm driving on this. Oh my goodness. Rain decreasing in 15 minutes, I'll stay out. No brakes! No brakes. Oh, I can't brake! That was not deliberate, but I'm counting it as a position. Dry tyres on the wet's at least drivable, but it is sketchy. Okay, goodbye. Yep.
And as you can see now, we are on the dry tyres still, and it is quite heavy wet. It is going to stop raining in 15, but it's very difficult to drive at the moment. As you can see here, really fighting the car.
Someone died, someone died. No, 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 no! I have no idea how I'm still alive, but I am. That was... oh my days, more crashes.
I don't think my heart's actually recovered yet from this first stint, even though this was 2 weeks ago.
So as long as I can still drive on dry tyres, it's going to be alright. So obviously driving smooth with dry tyres on a wet track really comes in handy. I have no idea how we're still alive. Everyone is really struggling. All the guys on dries. My teammate just said there's a bunch of people in the pit lane changing at wet tyres, but it's going to be dry in 15 minutes. So they'll all have an extra pit stop. Staying on dries is the best choice by far. On the high speed corners. I can't brake, can't brake, can't brake! Sorry. Couldn't brake. I'll give him the position back. I honestly couldn't brake there.
I'm getting swamped.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Do not go 3 wide.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
But if you do go 3 wide, I'm not going to back out. Even on dry tyres in the wet.
I literally have no grip at the moment. And aquaplaning on the corner. The
Yellow flag, be careful. Car on the right. Clear on the right.
I don't know whose fault that was, but that cost me 13 seconds either way.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Yeah, only quicker for now. Within 5 minutes it should stop raining. I thought we'd have lost positions.
Car on the left.
Oh my days, I cannot brake on the wet line. I literally cannot brake. If I'm on the water, I have to be on the dry line. I'm not warning in lift. Oh, where's that guy in front? Oh, he must have
Car on the right.
aquaplaned there, just like me. Free position. No, he's a back marker. I thought that was a free position. It's a back marker. Letting this McLaren through. He's faster right now whilst he's on wets. Copy.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Starting to get slidey now, but rain stops in 5.
So yeah, very difficult stint there. So it went dry, wet, wet,
Yep.
dry, etc. So what we were able to do was save a pit stop compared to most of the other teams there. And now it was over to Antonio for his double stint with 10.5 hours to go. As you see, it's now going to be raining. So I think Antonio drove twice whilst it was wet. In his double stint, I think he had to drive twice. Stayed on dry tyres, handled it very well, nice smooth driving. And not much happens in Antonio's double stint. He just does a really good job of just holding the position, I think. Obviously it's hard to tell because we had basically saved a pit stop compared to the other teams who hadn't saved a pit stop in the first stint. So
Excellent.
I think
Careful, you're on wet line.
we
Yep.
were around P5 or something.
Excellent, Antonio. P6. Good job.
And that was a nice move there by Antonio, especially considering he was on dry tyres there and that was the wet conditions. So that was his first stint, made up a position and kept it nice and smooth even when it did rain.
Yeah,
Stayed
very
on the dry
close pit wall.
tyres and now coming in for his next
Free
stint.
position, stay left, stay left. Free position.
Something happened with the Ferrari unfortunately because he just pulled off
Oh, no.
onto the side of the track.
What's happened to this guy? What happened?
So I'm not sure if he had technical difficulty or something like that.
Oh, must have been a technical difficulty because he's just pulled off. Let me check the replay, but you're fighting for position, you're not in the lead anymore. Don't flash just to distract him.
And then Ferrari going through here, who was much quicker than I think it was Antonio driving at that time. But as you can see, the lap times, our best lap times, even though it's dry, are still very slow. So I think this was because of the engine. The engine icon was white. So I think we had some engine damage and that was giving us the slow pace. Because as I say, in practice with this setup, full fuel,
Dry tires,
and we were all doing 218s. Even when I get in the car when it is dry, I was still I was
Yep.
still the same, way slower than what I was in practice.
You ready, Emmanuel?
So I assume it was just to do with the engine. But an excellent double stint by Antonio there, so it was over to Emmanuel
Yeah,
now
got
for
all
his
in one
first
piece.
stint, with 8.5 hours to go of the race. And also there's 2 times multiplier on, which is why we actually, in game it's a full 24 hours, but for us it's only 12 hours, so it's a bit confusing.
They're
for
all
you
on
there.
different strategies though.
But yeah, in game we obviously
not
have a
sure
lot more
where we
weather
actually are
conditions because it's
position-wise,
24
we'll find out in the
hours in
final
the
hour.
game, but only 12 hours in real life because of that 2 times multiplier.
He might be on. He'll be probably pitting soon, so just let him go if he's quicker. I'm interested to see what my pace is now in these conditions. Beautiful. Very nice switch back there. Or cut back, whatever you like to call it.
Very nice cut back there by Emmanuel to get a position.
Whoa!
Very
good
close
save.
with that back marker. And then unfortunately losing the position that he just got from that very nice overtake.
Careful for track limits.
And disaster. Just a bit of dirty air from the Aston in front. Clipped the curb straight into the wall. 18 seconds of damage. So Manuel comes into the pits. Gets
How much
that
damage?
fixed. Doesn't change tyres. Just gets the damage
How much
fixed.
damage?
So that is an extra pit stop, which was a bit annoying. But because we saved that pit stop in the first 17 minutes, it wasn't too bad. That probably evened us out
Right,
with
take it
most of the
easy,
other
see if you
teams
can
on
manage
their
it, if not,
strategies.
Don't change tyres or add fuel and just pit to repair the 18 seconds. But if you can, just stay out. Going across Radion like that, I thought would have given us track limit warning. Oh! He spinned it. Free
And a
position.
Free position from that BMW there who spun out in front of us. And now Emmanuel's coming in early because it's starting to get really heavy rain, as you can see on the weather forecast. Heavy rain,
Pascal,
so it
you're
was
good to
over
go.
to Pascal for his first stint
Manual countdown.
on wet tyres. So Emmanuel obviously had quite a short stint there because he pitted early.
My
Just
stint's
because we could
supposed
tell
to
that the
be
rain was going to continue to get heavier, so we
10
decided just to go
past
for the wet tyres a bit earlier.
Planned.
And then it was a very nice smooth stint from Pascal, especially considering it was wet conditions. Held the position very well. I think the position obviously changed by like 1 or 2. I think here he lost the position to the Honda. The Honda was very, very quick.
Right.
At Spa, Honda
Yep.
is
Yep.
very, very strong.
And don't repair damage.
But as you see, apart from that one manoeuvre there, not much happened in Pascal's
Tyre
stints
set
at
number
all.
10. So it's
Very
best
smooth
set.
stint there, not really any mistakes, and
Excellent.
just held
Just
the
count down
position
for me,
very
please.
nicely. So a good stint there by Pascal. And now it was over to myself. Now it was over to myself for the next stint. Dry tyres, as you see, the track was still a bit wet,
Just
but
let them know when they're gonna
it wasn't
exit.
raining, it was drying out. I think Pascal could have stayed out for a few laps longer. I think we changed drivers a bit too early because
Free position.
as you see
Honda
the track
died.
was still
Honda
quite
died. B7
wet.
Honda died.
I think we could have stayed on the wet tyres a little bit longer before we went to dries, but it was what it was. As you see, a free position from the Honda as well. So now it was just to push and try and make up some positions. But as you can see on the bottom right now you can see that the engine is white. So I think this is what caused our pace issues. And as you see, my pace very, very slow. Unfortunately, which was annoying because we put so much practice into making sure we were all hitting 218's race pace. Got to the race and we didn't get it below a 220, which was a bit annoying.
Manual, it's up to
But I
you
think it
if
was
you want to
just
do the next stint or
the
not.
engine damage we had. here I backed out. I kind of wanted to fight it, but I just decided to back out because
I'll tell you when I've
the
got
track
5
was still a little bit
laps
wet,
of
and I
fuel
also
left.
just did not want to risk it when we still had 6 hours to go for that maneuver
Yep.
there.
Light rain in 15 minutes.
And now we are 6 hours left of the race. Big pile up there.
That was close.
And we've got 6
was
hours left of
very
the race, so
close. I did
halfway
not
through. Got
See that
P6,
till the last
P5 just
second.
up in
I got
front of
very
us.
lucky there.
And coming into the first corner, I'm assuming this was a little bit of
Free position.
revenge by the Aston on one of the back markers there for that pile up. I'm
Okay,
not
now
sure.
this BMW's P5
That's just
again.
how it looks
get
like. I might be completely wrong. It might have just been an accident. I don't know. But now it started driving, and Emmanuel was supposed to be in the car next, but he decided he wasn't too comfortable going in the wet, which is completely understandable. So I then went and did a double stint, so went on the wet tyres. So for the first time in the race, I was able to actually drive with the wet tyres in the wet conditions, and not much happens in this stint. Again, there isn't that much to report about.
If he was at the start of the pit lane,
That's
I
the
would
end
have
of
made
the stint
extra
already.
lap.
As you see, literally nothing happened. Just held that P5, and now it was over to
Okay,
Emmanuel
40
for
seconds
his stint.
the 10-second time penalty.
I think
Pascal,
he
you
goes
ready?
on dry tyres. Yep, he does. As you see, a little bit of light rain just as he starts his stint. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Emmanuel, it was Pascal that was in the car next. A little bit of rain to start his stint, and then it went dry
Pitted in the last
near the end of
hour,
the stint.
or maybe it's 45
Again,
minutes,
a
I don't
good
know,
stint
but
by
yeah,
Pascal, holding that P5 position, not much happening. At this point, there's like laps between each
Good stint, Pascal.
position,
Good
so
job.
not much
Held the position
happens
very
at all.
nicely. Good job.
So good stint again there by Pascal. That's him for the rest of the race. He did two stints. I got a 10-second time penalty for, I'll be perfectly honest, I took out a back marker. He went really slow on the exit, and I didn't expect it. So unfortunately I ended up taking him out. So I knew I got that 10-second time penalty, but we're not sure what we got this one for, if it was from another collision that my teammate might have had, but there isn't any messages in the chat from race control, but we have a 10-second time penalty, so I'm not sure what it's actually for. Because my teammate did have a collision, but it was more of a racing incident, so I'm not sure what this penalty is for. But yeah, my teammate right now, Emmanuel's just trying to as you see, I'm also in the commentary booth this race, so if you look in the description of this video, you will see the official stream and some timestamps of where I'm in the stream, because I go in the commentary booth for a wee bit during the race, and it was actually a really fun stream, so do go check out the official stream in the description down below, guys. And yeah, that was quite funny. Emmanuel was looking at his clock to see what time he finished his stint, because he's responsible for how good our strategy was. In all honesty, he gave some really good strategy calls. But yeah, no, clipping the wall in the pit lane was the least of our concerns. Unfortunately, Antonio clipped the curb going up through Radion and straight into the wall.
Can you get to the pit lane?
Tries to get back to the pit lane with no steering, and unfortunately here he's turning all the way to the left and the car drifts to the right because he has no steering. Gets a big penalty for that, which is understandable, hitting that Aston. Obviously it wasn't intentional, but because we had no steering, that was obviously deemed our fault, which is perfectly reasonable. Went to the pit lane only to not repair the suspension, so he did another lap, same corner, and as you see, the Audi goes under the back of us. To be honest, have a look at yourself and decide, but I think
This is just gone in the
I was surprised that we got the penalty for that one, because we were actually like off the racing line and off the track. It was quite obvious we were going, but because we were the one with no steering, we got the penalty, fair enough. But yeah, bit gutting. So the second time we went through the pit lane, he did repair the suspension, but we ended up with 35 seconds of time penalties, which was a bit frustrating. But coming out of the pit lane, I jumped into the car for an hour's stint.
Only 4 seconds, so I won't repair.
I think
Just 4 seconds of
I
body
think
work.
I
My
only
bad.
was able to gain one
I
position
don't
or
know
so
what
because
happened there. I just
it's the last
had too
hour
much
of a
speed, it just didn't
12-hour
slow down.
race. The gaps
Okay.
between positions are
Antonio's
like a couple of
requested
laps.
75, 76.
So
well,
it's
destroyed
very
the
hard to
suspension
gain
and
or
tried to
lose
drive back to the
positions
pit lane,
at
but he had hardly any steering
that late
because of the
of a
suspension
stage in
damage.
the race.
Got to the pit lane, but in the process ended up having a collision with someone.
So
which
yeah,
we
we
got
were
to the
down
second
to
time even
P17
though he could
with our
steer.
final pit stop. Antonio finishes the race.
And then, unfortunately, only repaired the bodywork
so yeah,
damage
he ended up.
instead of the
We
suspension
ended up
by accident.
with a drive-through right at the end.
He,
Have a look at the
forgot
replay
to
there,
tick
but
the
as you see,
suspension
it doesn't
damage.
actually look like we go off the track and we get it. I think we might.
What's happening?
Antonio might have just went slightly
drive-through.
wide as he came into the fast left-hander, but it wasn't like anything that would have gained him time. So I was surprised to get a drive-through, but
just
it just kind of put the icing on top there, unfortunately, for that
Just stay out.
final 2 hours. So overall, it was a good
My
race.
face
Good,
is just depression.
team effort by everyone. The strategy calls were good. Certainly, the pace and practice was amazing, and the setup we built was really, really good. Ending up finishing P17 after starting P25 was really nice. Free position there from the Lamborghini.
Well done, guys.
And obviously, a
Well done.
big thank you to all my teammates and obviously Ballas for getting us to the race. Again, if you would like to go check out the official stream in the comments down below, I recommend you do. It's quite a fun
It's
stream if you
alright,
want to
these
go
things
check it
happen.
out. And hopefully we can do, as we go into 2023, we'll have lots of endurance races coming up, some endurance championships that we will be racing in, so we look forward to that, and hopefully we can get some good results in 2023. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and see you again next time.